Paul Hogan reveals the horrors of Linda Kozlowski divorce. Paul Hogan was born on the 8th of October 1939 in the small outback town of Lightning Ridge, New South Wales, Australia, a place best known for its opal mining and rugged frontier spirit. His birth during the late 1930s placed him in a generation shaped by the aftermath of the Great Depression and the upheavals of World War II. Though little has been documented about his parents and his early family life, Hogan's humble beginnings in rural Australia helped shape his earthy sense of humor and down-to-earth personality, qualities that would later become his hallmark both on and off the screen. Growing up in a working-class environment, he did not have the polished path of a traditional entertainer, but instead carved out his own unique trajectory with resilience, wit, and sheer charisma. As a young man, Hogan took up one of the most physically demanding and iconic jobs in Sydney, working as a rigger on the Sydney Harbour Bridge. This job required courage, stamina, and a head for heights, as riggers were responsible for maintaining and repairing the giant steel structure. The experience toughened him and grounded him in the gritty reality of manual labor. Yet it also exposed him to a variety of characters and situations that would later feed into his comedy. Standing high above the bustling harbor, Hogan was far removed from the entertainment industry, but the job honed his ability to laugh in the face of danger and hardship, a quality that became integral to his comedic style. Paul Hogan's first brush with fame came not through careful planning, but through a bold stroke of chance. In 1971, he appeared on the Australian television program New Faces, a talent show designed to showcase up-and-coming performers. At the time, Hogan was not a professional comedian, but his natural wit and unique style of humor, characterized by self-deprecating jokes, cheeky observations, and a distinctly Australian flavor, instantly struck a chord with audiences. His comedy stood out because it was raw, unpolished, and authentically Australian, offering something different from the often imported styles dominating television. The audience and judges loved him, and Hogan quickly realized that he had stumbled upon a gift that could take him far beyond the rigging job on the Harbour Bridge. The overwhelming popularity of his comedic talent soon gave Hogan the chance to front his own show. The Paul Hogan Show, which he not only starred in but also wrote and produced, became a television sensation throughout the 1970s and early 1980s. The show was known for its sketch comedy format, filled with quirky characters, absurd situations, and a satirical edge that poked fun at both everyday life and Australian stereotypes. Audiences adored its irreverent humor, and Hogan's ability to laugh at himself endeared him to millions. The show's appeal extended beyond Australia, gaining a following in places like South Africa, further cementing Hogan's reputation as an entertainer with international reach. His efforts were recognized in 1973 when he won the prestigious TV Week Logie Award in the Best New Talent category, a clear acknowledgement that his comedic star was on the rise. Hogan's move into acting began modestly. He made his film debut in 1980 with a cameo in the Australian film Fatty Finn, a light-hearted production that gave him a small taste of the film industry. 5 years later, he took on a more substantial role as Lance Corporal Pat Clary in the television miniseries Anzacs, a historical drama about Australian soldiers during World War I. This role allowed him to explore his acting range, proving that he could handle more serious material as well as comedy. By this time, Hogan had firmly established himself as a beloved television figure, but the world was about to discover him in a much bigger way. In 1986, Paul Hogan achieved international superstardom with the release of Crocodile Dundee. Not only did he star in the film, but he also co-wrote the screenplay, crafting the story of Michael J. Dundee, a charismatic bushman with a larger-than-life personality. The film, directed by Peter Feynman, followed the adventures of Dundee as he navigated both the Australian outback and the bustling streets of New York City, creating a humorous cultural clash that audiences around the world found irresistible. Made on a relatively modest budget of under $10 million, Crocodile Dundee became a box office phenomenon, grossing hundreds of millions worldwide. It was not just a financial triumph, but also a cultural one, putting Australia firmly on the cinematic map and making Hogan a global household name. The success of Crocodile Dundee brought Hogan accolades and critical recognition. He won the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Comedy or Musical Motion Picture, and his screenplay earned him an Academy Award nomination, along with a BAFTA nomination. Few actors achieve such acclaim in their first major international role, but Hogan's magnetic presence and natural comedic timing made Dundee unforgettable. He had tapped into a universal archetype, the rugged, good-natured outsider who could charm anyone, and audiences responded with enthusiasm. Following the massive success of the first film, Hogan reprised his role in Crocodile Dundee 2, 1988. While the sequel was financially successful, it received lukewarm reviews from critics who felt it failed to capture the fresh magic of the original. Despite this, Hogan's star power remained strong. In 1990, he appeared in the comedy drama Almost an Angel, in which he played a small-time crook given a chance at redemption. Unfortunately, the film was both a commercial and critical disappointment. His 1994 Western comedy Lightning Jack also failed to win over critics, though Hogan's unique brand of humor was still appreciated by loyal fans. In 1996, Hogan starred in the family film Flipper, a remake of the classic television series. Playing the role of a grumpy uncle who bonds with his nephew and a friendly dolphin, Hogan's performance was praised even though the film itself failed at the box office, earning only $20 million against a $25 million budget. Interestingly, despite its financial shortcomings, the movie was nominated for several awards, a testament to Hogan's enduring ability to connect with audiences on screen. In 1998, he appeared in the made-for-television film Floating Away, continuing to take on varied roles. Hogan returned to his most iconic character one final time in 2001 with Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles. While the film did not match the success of its predecessors and was considered the weakest of the trilogy, it marked the end of an era for Hogan and the Dundee character that had defined his career. After Dundee's farewell, Hogan began to step back from Hollywood and focus more on life outside of the limelight. In the following years, Hogan took on smaller projects, including the Australian comedies Strange Bedfellows, 2004, about two men who pretend to be a gay couple for financial reasons, and Charlie and Boots, 2009, a road movie centered on the relationship between a father and son. Both films performed well in Australia and reminded audiences of Hogan's enduring charm and comedic warmth. By 2013, although he was no longer acting regularly, Hogan made a memorable guest appearance on Adam Hill's Tonight, showing that his humor and charisma had not faded with time. Paul Hogan's personal life has been marked by long-lasting relationships, family responsibilities, and also publicized marital struggles that often drew as much attention as his career. His first marriage was to Noeline Edwards, whom he wed in 1958, long before he achieved fame as a comedian or international movie star. At that time, Hogan was still a young man working blue-collar jobs in Sydney, and the marriage represented stability and family life during his early years. Together, Hogan and Edwards raised a large family, having 5 children over the course of their marriage. For many years, their union appeared to outsiders as strong and enduring, as they weathered Hogan's gradual rise from construction work to television comedy and eventually film stardom. However, by 1981, after more than 2 decades together, their relationship had reached a breaking point. The couple separated and finalized a divorce, which was a difficult and emotional process given their long history and the number of children involved. Despite this, their story took an unusual turn. Less than a year after their divorce, Hogan and Edwards chose to remarry, suggesting there was still affection and a desire to repair the bond they once had. This reconciliation, though hopeful, ultimately did not last. In 1986, Hogan initiated divorce proceedings once more, and this second divorce became infamous in Australia. It was widely covered in the press and was even labeled as one of the nation's ugliest celebrity divorces. Media outlets reported heavily on the financial settlements, personal accusations, and emotional toll, turning what should have been a private matter into a public spectacle. After moving on from his tumultuous first marriage, Hogan found love again in a very different way. While filming the blockbuster hit Crocodile Dundee in the mid-1980s, he developed a close relationship with his co-star, the American actress Linda Kozlowski. Their on-screen chemistry translated into real life, and the pair married in 1990. Unlike his long marriage to Edwards, Hogan's relationship with Kozlowski was built during his peak fame, and the two became one of the most recognizable couples in Hollywood and Australia alike. Together, they had one child, a son named Chance, born in 1998. For many years, they appeared to have a stable and affectionate marriage, often attending public events together and presenting a united front as Hogan's career continued. Yet, even this marriage eventually faced difficulties. In October 2013, after more than 2 decades together, Kozlowski filed for divorce from Hogan, citing irreconcilable differences. The decision was reportedly amicable compared to his earlier divorce, and both parties emphasized mutual respect and care for their son. The divorce was finalized in 2014, marking the end of Hogan's second marriage. As a father, Hogan's family life has always been extensive and important. With Noeline Edwards, he had 5 children: Brett, Clay, Scott, Todd, and Lauren. Each of them grew up during Hogan's rise to fame, experiencing both the ordinary family life of their early years and the unusual pressures that come with having a celebrity father. With Linda Kozlowski, Hogan's 6th and youngest child, Chance Hogan, was born, giving him a son nearly 4 decades after his first child. His role as a father to both older adult children and a younger son later in life has often been noted as central to his personal identity, even as his marriages changed over the years. Paul Hogan, the Australian actor who captured worldwide fame with his portrayal of Mick Crocodile Dundee, has lived a life filled with both triumphs and personal struggles. Among the most painful chapters of his personal story was his divorce from Linda Kozlowski, his co-star in the Crocodile Dundee films and his wife for over 2 decades. When Hogan has chosen to reflect on the separation, his words reveal not only the pain of a broken marriage, but also the heavy emotional toll that fame, lifestyle differences, and years of shared history can have on 2 people once deeply in love. Hogan admitted that the divorce was anything but easy, and he has not shied away from describing the lingering scars. "It was heartbreaking," Hogan confessed, acknowledging that parting ways with Kozlowski felt like losing both a partner and a best friend. Having met in the late 1980s while filming the movie that would catapult them both to international fame, their relationship seemed like a fairy tale to the outside world. The rugged Aussie hero and the glamorous American actress appeared to be a perfect match, both on-screen and off. Yet, as Hogan has explained, beneath the polished Hollywood image there were cracks that widened over the years. Reflecting on the breakdown of their relationship, Hogan once said, "Divorce is like surgery without anesthesia. You feel every cut, every tear, and it leaves scars you can't see but you feel every single day." This vivid description highlights just how deeply the separation affected him. Though he is known for his sharp wit and easygoing humor, Hogan admitted that the divorce stripped him of his natural optimism for a time. "You think you're tough. You think you can handle anything. But when the person you built your life with walks away, it's like the ground disappears beneath you," he explained. Part of the agony for Hogan came from the sudden void that Linda's absence created in his daily life. For more than 20 years, they had been partners in everything, raising their son Chance, navigating the highs and lows of Hollywood fame, and traveling between Australia and the United States. When she left, the silence in the house was deafening, Hogan recalled. I'd walk past her empty chair or see her coffee cup in the cupboard, and it was like a stab to the heart. Such comments reveal the raw human side of a man, often portrayed as the larger-than-life Crocodile Dundee, reminding fans that fame and fortune do not shield anyone from personal anguish. Hogan has also been candid about the challenges of separating from someone who shared not only his private life, but also his professional journey. It's not like you can just erase the past, he remarked. Every movie, every photo, every memory has her face in it. That's not something you can just pack away in a box. Their marriage had been more than a personal bond. It was woven into the very fabric of Hogan's career and public identity. That entanglement made the process of moving on far more complicated than it might have been for an ordinary couple. Despite the bitterness of divorce proceedings, Hogan has consistently expressed respect for Linda as both a mother and a person. Still, his words hint at the quiet suffering that lingers long after the legal documents are signed. People think divorce ends the pain once the papers are filed, Hogan observed, but the truth is, that's when it begins. That's when you start living with the absence, the loneliness, and the wondering if you could have done something different. His reflections are those of a man who has wrestled not only with regret, but also with the unavoidable reality that sometimes love, even when genuine, cannot bridge differences that grow too wide. Ultimately, Hogan has tried to find perspective in the heartbreak. You learn to live with it, he said softly. The scars don't vanish, but you find a way to keep going. Life doesn't stop because your heart's been broken. You just hope the next chapter is a little kinder. These words reveal a man who has endured profound personal loss, but continues to seek peace and resilience in the face of life's hardships. For Paul Hogan, the divorce from Linda Kozlowski was not merely the end of a marriage, but the unraveling of a partnership that had defined much of his adult life. His frank comments lay bare the emotional costs of celebrity relationships and remind the world that behind every Hollywood love story lies the same human vulnerability that touches us all.